Today we're on the Platforms, Partners and Services track. We're in the games business, and I think the important word there is business. We're not a charity. We need to make money. We need to give our children clothes. We need to pay out for our employees. And I've been fortunate to be in the games business for quite a while. And how money comes along has sort of changed over the years. Once upon a time, games were sold in brick-and-mortar stores. You'd pay money in front and then get the game. And then the internet came along, and we had web-based games, which are driven by advertising, and then subscription-based. And now we've actually moved into the sort of freemium market where people play the game for free. They play the game for a little while, they become vested in the game, and then we hit them with little microtransactions, and that's the way we make money, because we have to make money. Today we have a panel of very distinguished people, subtract one, who will be talking about various different sort of payment methods. So Mark, I would like to introduce you, who will then introduce the rest of the panel. But before I go, as promised, we have a trivia question. So according to Wikipedia, which is a source of all knowledge, as we know, how many currencies are there in the world in circulation according to the United Nations? So please shout it out, and I'll say higher or lower until we get the right answer. More than 150 currencies. Less than 200. More than 175? 183 is very, very close. Somewhere in between? 182, there we go. Congratulations. Mark, it's all yours.
Wow, that's trivia. Woo. Congratulations. I love Google. So today we're going to start with our panel. So I'm going to do a brief introduction. So basically, we put together a bunch of the industry's payment managers because we want to really teach everyone how payment flow is an important part of the payment process, and also how it is for your business. We have a tight time frame, so we're going to kind of rush through things a little bit more than we'd like to, but we're going to do our best. So I'm going to do short introductions for who everyone is, from where they're from, and then we're going to get started. So first I have Thorsten Korner from Infernum Productions, Moritz KÖNIGSBÜSCHER, who's actually from SoundCloud, so we wanted to give a different perspective from another industry. Just so that you can kind of start seeing the differences between how different payment flows in different businesses will actually function. Then we'll have Victor from Just a Game, which is also another gaming company in Berlin. Michael SCHADE, he's actually a little bit late, and he will be here potentially later. And if not, then maybe I could pretend to be him, who knows, which would be fun. And he's going to actually talk more on the mobile direction for mobile gaming. So that's actually another kind of perspective within payment flows. And last but certainly not least is Andreas Schultz from GameForge. So I think that might be very, very interesting for all of you. So I'm going to first start the presentation by passing it over to Thorsten.
Can you hear me? Okay, perfect, works. Thanks, Mark, for the introduction. So my presentation from Infernum, how the payment works on our side, the payment flow, I'm looking into that. To give you a brief overview of how we do it right now. Just a few words before on Infernum. We were founded back in May 2011. We're from former Frogster European International Managers, like Andreas Weidenhaupt, you probably know him, some of you might know him, and Tobias Gerlinger. We are focused on publishing and development. So our publishing studio, our publishing unit where I work in, we are focused on basically licensing the games from Asia, from all over the world, and publishing them in Europe, mainly Europe and North America. We have one title currently live, which was released in September, which is Brickforce, and I'm going to show you the payment flow there. And then they have an upcoming title, an MMORPG from the Runemaker studio called Dragon's Prophet. And this will be released this year. We are located in Berlin and we have 40 employees. Our studios, they're focusing on another title, which is currently in development. It's called Theralon, but it's not a part of the presentation. So we have two components in our payment system. So we have one-time payments and premium account features on Brickforce. We give one-time payments. I kept it very brief and short. So we have international and local payment options. You know all the international ones, credit card, major e-wallets, local ones, SMS payments, call, and so on, offer walls. Then on the premium accounts side, we don't go into mobile yet. We started with premium as well in July. We had one-time payments from the beginning, even in the open beta. And the subscription-based, basically, premium account feature works for us like similar to when you compare it to World of Warcraft or the other industry leaders, where you have subscription-based payment options like e-wallets and credit cards, and other one-time payment options like the prepaid cards or online bank transfers. So the first flow I want to talk about is the one-time payments. We kept it very brief and simple because for me, if you put too much information in it or too much like flashy things around it, it might distract the user from the actual flow, and it might be just like go away from paying at all. So there's always a top-off, you can argue around that, but this is the way we are going right now. So we have this flow live since July. We started with a lot of payment options, depending really on the country. And then when the user clicks on the payment option, they can select the item, the package they want to buy, and then they get they get redirected to the payment provider or to an iframe. And that's basically it. Then it comes a confirmation page, and done. Clean, simple. The user has the option to do it on the website directly. They can go out of the game. They have a link in the game. I don't have the screenshot there, but if you open the game, you will see a link, say buy token, or go here to the premium model, go to the premium side. Okay? The subscription-based payments, we have highlighted them with a short banner so that the customer knows that on a monthly basis something is deducted. And we, of course, we have like discounts displayed, like what the user can save. And you don't see it here on this slide, but on the right-hand side we have an info box, we have a customer service context, we have our T's and C's, and the info box gives information on the premium account features as well, so the user can go in there. Now, what we do on the payment side, or what we have done so far since we launched in July last year with BRICForce, we have done, of course, bonus tokens, additional give away additional in-game currencies. That's one thing. Then another thing what we do, we give away extra items on price points for certain providers in order basically to steer the buying behaviors of the user. This is a feature we tested recently, and we're probably going to use in order to get away from the more expensive payment options like mobile, move towards to the payment options like credit cards or prepaid options. Works pretty well, and we are going to use it probably more in the future for strategic partnerships like prepaid companies. Then, of course, we use Twitter, Facebook, in-game announcements, launcher placements together with our providers to teaser them on, and to present if you have any kind of like specialties in certain countries. Then what we have plans, there are a couple of plans, of course. I mean, we're a startup company and we're only live for 8 months now, like really commercially. So we're going to rework probably the payment option display. That's what I'm working on right now as well. The idea goes towards like a preferred option. Personal opinion of me, sometimes less is more. If you display too many payment options, you might overload the customer with information, and of course you maybe just only want to display the ones which make you where you get the best payouts, for example, and keep the other ones a bit lower or under button other. It's really up to you. There's a lot of things you can play around. You can test them. We're going to test them in different markets as well, different ways of presenting it. So that's something we are going to do, and some of my colleagues have done before. And then add additional local currencies. It's another step. Right now we offer US dollar and euro. So what you see as well, like if you only offer like US dollar and euro, and you offer mobile in other markets where you don't have euro or US dollar as a currency, you will see that a lot of customers actually tend to use mobile because it's their native currency. They don't have to make a conversion. They're not really confused, and mobile is very easy for them to use. So that's something I saw when I did the review of our payment performance. Then, of course, improve usability. Usability is always an ongoing process. We have to look into that and review the placement of the offer walls in the flow, maybe outside of the flow. It's a trade-off. For me, offer walls is kind of topic. Do I want the user to engage with watching videos, or do I want them to get to pay? And videos watching sometimes takes a long time. You all know it, 30 seconds or more. The payout is not great for the users, so they make basically, it's better for them if they spend the money directly than taking too much time or wasting time. And that's, well, and there will be more over the year. The year is young, so we're very ambitious. That's it from me. And I give it over to Moritz from SoundCloud.
Yeah, sorry. Hello, I'm Moritz from SoundCloud. As Mark said earlier on, it's a slightly different perspective as we are a non-gaming company, we're a sound company. Maybe just one word on SoundCloud. So SoundCloud is a platform where you, as a sound creator, can share and distribute your own sounds. It's for labels, it's for musicians, it's even if your firstborn baby has its first words or first cry, then you can share it through Facebook and network. So we have, in a month, we have 180 million users using SoundCloud, and every minute it's 10 hours of sound being uploaded to our platform. And so on our business model, what our customers basically in terms of payment, it's sound creators, as I said, not consumers, so it's not an approach like Spotify is doing. We are monetizing from our sound creators. So it's more into a B2B direction, and the customer base is a worldwide customer base. So it's really like our customers are everywhere. They're also in Iran, they are in Venezuela, everywhere. The product itself, it's a freemium model, so you can use SoundCloud freely for uploading sounds. You can upload as many sounds as you like, but if you hit a limit of 120 minutes of total sound, then in order to show it to your audience, you have to go for a premium plan. We have 4 different premium plans, and you can choose either a yearly or monthly subscriptions. You can also buy a gift plan for a friend who is lacking cash. So, and this is how actually our premium choice page looks. We have 4 plans. We will be doing this a little more straightforward. I'll come to this in a bit. And so you just need to choose what you're actually looking for, and then show you the payment page in a second, how that looks. But what does payments at SoundCloud actually mean? As I said, it's a bit different probably to the gaming industry. We only take credit and debit cards and PayPal at the moment, and it's euros only. That should be definitely improved in the future. But our focus so far was growth, and the monetization is getting traction right now. Payment processes, it's all recurring. And we're basically managing all the recurring processes by ourselves. It's not outsourced to any third-party service provider. We are informing the customer on failed payments. We are informing the customer if his subscription expires, and we inform him if he uploaded more than the 120 minutes, so that we then can force him into a paid premium membership. We also need to deal with lots of taxation stuff, but this is probably anybody has to deal with. On the fraud management side, which is also pretty important if you want to survive as a business, we have a fairly low exposure on fraud. We just have a small and simple script in place which checks for different data and then decides if a purchase comes from a typical sound creator or from somebody else. And usually that somebody else is not a sound creator. And so we can easily block them. Reporting is also a very important issue, so that we have everything in place to satisfy our finance team's need. And what's also quite special, I think, and we're a bit proud of that, we have an excellent community team who really takes care of our premium users and does mostly things without using templates. So every user who has a question gets a more or less individual response. So this is how our payment page looks. You can choose the plan if you want to go for monthly or for yearly. You need to enter your address information. As I said, it's a more B2B thing. So because of that, you can get an invoice from us, or actually you do get an invoice from us. We then just ask you for the payment data, and if you have paid before at SoundCloud, your old payment data is pre-filled, and so you can reuse that. That's basically it. So where do we want to go? So we're looking into new business models. There's nothing I can talk about right now. But for the payment processes itself, go for more currencies. So our main single market is the US, for example, and not offering US dollars is a no-brainer. Offering US dollars is a no-brainer. The product choice, like the 4 models you've seen earlier on, is not that simple to understand, so we will simplify this very soon, actually. We also want to offer more payment options, just like, I'm a bit ashamed to say that we only have 3 here, like other gaming companies have like that huge list. But everything needs to be recurring enabled on our place, so the number of payment options available is kind of limited. And another thing which I don't really like, because it affects conversion negatively, is the entry of billing data. The more you have to enter when you're going to the payment process, the higher the chances that you basically get out of that process. So on the other hand, we need invoices, especially for taxation and for the needs of our customers. So this is something we haven't decided upon yet. But in terms of payments and seamless payments and easy payments, getting rid of that would be a good idea. Thanks. Next up is Victor from Just the Game.
Good morning, everybody. Like Moritz said, I'm sorry, I'm a bit sick. You can hear my voice a bit funny. I'm from a company called Just a Game. We're a small publisher based in Berlin. I'm going to talk today about what I consider and what we're going to work on for our newest game, what the ideal payment flow should consider. If you are a payment manager working in the industry, you should know after a couple of months what the sweet spot in your game is for impulse purchases, where your user goes a bit crazy or mad as he says, okay, I need to buy something right now. This is the place where I need to, I want to move quicker, I want to defeat this guy. This guy has defeated me already 7 times. I want to defeat him now. So in this sweet spot, in this place, you should be able to put the purchase more credits button. Is what I think is the best. For this kind of impulse purchases, you should have payment solutions that can be saved into the user's profile. You have to talk to your payment provider to make sure that you know which payment solutions can be saved into the user profile. Not all payment solutions can be saved. Online bank transfers, because they require several information, they cannot be saved, but credit cards normally can be saved, PayPal normally can be saved, and some prepaid solutions can be saved into the user's profile. And for you also to be able to do this, you have to consider that even if the payment solution can be saved into the user's profile, you have to be able to offer the best payout for merchant. Sorry, you have to get for yourself, merchant is you, the publisher, the best payout, and because then the user is going to feel also more happy, or is going to feel happier because he's going to get a more virtual currency than saying buying with mobile, because it's a more expensive payment method. And of course, if the user is going to make an impulse purchase, he might regret it later. So you want to make sure that there is no chargeback possible with this payment method. Of course, you don't want chargebacks, but you want the user to be happy. So and you want to make sure that the user is not going to create incidents later. Not like, oh my God, I press the button 3 times, which happens. Of course, they say, oh, sorry, I bought 3 times 50 because I was drunk, or I don't know. This happens very often. So you have to make sure that the sweet spot and the one-click payment option is something that creates low incidence for billing support. And last but not least, there are some currencies, even if you have users in Indonesia, let's say, or in Latin America, it's a bit convenient. It is convenient for you to offer Mexican pesos or Malaysian ringgit, but it's not very convenient for you because you get some funny rates for exchange rates. So you have to make sure you use at least dollars or euro or GBP or powerful currencies. So this is where we have located, or I have located, that our sweet spot is for our newest game. It's called Kings and Legends. In this part of the game is where the user buys four different types of packages, either the most basic one to the most sophisticated one. So you can see here more or less how many steps, or you can foresee how many steps the user has to take in order to buy a new package. So he has to see which one he wants. He has to click then on Get Gold, on Buy, on Shop on the bottom, or on Shop or Store on the top. Then he's going to be forwarded to this page. And then he's going to choose which package he wants. He's going to, if he got the wrong country or the wrong currency, he has to change it, and he has to choose the payment option. Already too many steps. Already he might think about it twice. So what we want is, and sorry, before I get to the next, this is how our game looks like. So he's playing already. If he buys something right now, the only option is clicking on Store, but the purchase is not going to change at all anything in game. If he's losing already, even if he goes and spends 150 euro or dollars, he's not going to win. So you have to find the sweet spot where the user goes a bit mad. He wants to purchase more, and this is where I showed you earlier. Now, what we would like to, what we are planning to work with is to again show the user when he comes the first time for payment, to tell him, listen, for credit cards, for some prepaid cards, for some other options, you can save your payment option, your payment details, and the next time you come back to the game, you may click on Get Gold, you may click on that you want to VIP, you want to be VIP, and you only need to enter your CCB credit card details, or you only need to enter some the voucher from the prepaid card, or some basic details, instead of doing again all these steps, going here, clicking on the package, clicking correcting your currency, clicking the payment option, going again to PayPal, entering your details, saying yes, I accept, and then you go back. Then you lost already your interest. The best is you're here, you say yes, I want this, I enter the detail. Then you get your cards, and you say, I want more. You click then, I want more. You enter your details again, and then you found your sweet spot. And I'm finished.
All right, I guess that's pretty good timing, though. So apologies, I thought the panel was at 10. Okay, here I'm Michael SCHADE, I'm CEO of Fish Labs. And I'm not going to talk about the ideal flow on how you purchase in-game credits on the mobile space. I'd rather like to compare the systems that we as a mobile gamer are used to work with. And so let's start with the most important market for us, obviously Apple, iTunes. That's the strongest platform, and if you compare this to all the others, you will see why they are so strong. So most importantly, Apple has 500 million credit cards on file. This is basically because of iTunes. They started very early on having this music service running, and they're also using that kind of payment for their apps. And there's nothing you actually need to do as a user. You just use your existing iTunes account. It works in 100 countries, and even if you don't have a credit card, there are vouchers that can be purchased at the retail shops, like in Germany it's Rewe and so on, but also at the Apple flagship stores as well. So these are ideal if grandma wants to gift her grandson some money for Christmas. Gifting itself is feasible as well. So there are direct buttons you can have in an app, but also on iTunes you can gift apps to somebody else. The price tag range, it starts from 99 cents, goes all the way to 999.99 US dollars, and it's automatically converted into the country's currency if necessary. One of the greatest things with Apple is you don't have to care with VAT at all. So since Apple sells the content, Apple has the direct user relationship. It's like they deal with the VAT in all those countries, and you as a developer, you don't have to bother at all with that. And that helps obviously a lot in terms of dealing with the tax authorities, but also you actually make more money because on average the VAT is like 18–90%, so that's a cut that's also for you. This App Store thing is very dynamic, so price changes happen within an hour, sometimes even faster, so you can really react on marketing campaigns you're driving or user behavior that you see. And also the in-app purchase is very, very easy, pretty straightforward to implement. And what's also very exciting is that we see a very, very low rate of returns. So people who have a credit card that doesn't have enough credit anymore, or fraud or anything. So it's very, very low. It's seriously, you can tell it's a premium platform here. There are also no fees in terms of there is a return, you just don't get the money for this certain purchase. There's nothing on top of that. You get a 70% payout. Everybody gets a 70% payout, even the big guys like EA, so there's nothing to be negotiated, which makes it very fair for smaller developers who know, okay, well, everybody gets the same deal here. And at the end of the month, you get a fairly solid report that tells you how many applications or how many copies of a certain application you sold in a particular country for what price, and that's it. So you don't get any details in terms of timestamp or what kind of device they were using, which is a downside because sometimes you don't know from what kind of device the traffic comes from, the purchase was made, in case there are technical issues in terms of like you created an app that's not 100% optimized for a certain device. So if you compare it with the second largest market, Google Checkout, I really searched the internet. There's no information how many credit cards Google has on file with Google Checkout. However, it seems that still is the predominant billing system for mobile apps on Google Play. And as a plus compared to Apple, Google also has some operator billing. It's not too many, but at least Sprint in the US, Vodafone, and T-Mobile, and the large countries in Europe are supported. And this is going to be better and better. So Google is really improving at that point, and to a certain degree has an edge compared to Apple. You also can gift apps, which is cool, and pretty much the same price point range that we've seen with iTunes. However, the prices differ by country. So it's a little bit more complicated to set the right prices because of exchange currencies, because it's pretty much your choice what you do. So there's an automatic system within Google, but you still can have an influence for the price tag per country. Opposed to Apple, the VATs with a developer. So you have to deal with the different VATs, in particular in Europe, that can be quite cumbersome. And obviously you have to deal with the tax authorities to get the VAT back to them. Also the price changes are very dynamic, it goes really quick. It's also very straightforward, the in-app purchase to be implemented. Not everything is very straightforward on Google, but at least the in-app purchase, that's easy to implement. About 18 months ago, we saw about 20% of the billing events to bounce back because of technical issues with the billing platform, and that got a lot better. Still, there's a significant amount of billing events that bounce back. Our impression is it's still a bit some technical issues, but also it's like the audience within Google, that just simply more people who have a credit card, well, that doesn't work anymore, or wherever it comes from. The biggest pain currently with the Google Checkout is that as a developer, if you want to do a refund to a user that got an in-app purchase, you get charged $6 per refund. And of course that sucks because the in-app purchase was just 99 cents. You're not only don't get the money, you also get the penalty on top of $6. So in particular, as free-to-play is the way to go on Google Checkout, or on Google, on Android, you have to deal with a lot of in-app purchases. And if you don't take tests seriously, you get one-star reviews from those users. So you have to do with that, you have to deal with that. And if you have many, many millions installs, because that's what you need to do if you want to monetize on free-to-play, be prepared, you have a lot of support tickets with payment. The payment, again, is 70% payout, which is pretty much the standard for mobile app stores. And you get a very, very detailed and complex reporting. So you get exactly what kind of device that user has. You even get the name, the address, everything, the whole registration. And if they put in a telephone number, you even have the telephone number. But at the same time, the buyer also gets your telephone number. So we get people calling my fellow partner, CEO and CFO, Christian Lohr, has put in his mobile into his Google Checkout account, and all of a sudden he got some support calls on his mobile. That was kind of great. So you should be really careful what you put in here. We recently launched on Amazon. There's no exact figure there, but people say on the web, you can see it's roughly about 300 million credit cards on file, so that's pretty close to what Apple has. And I claim it's 150 countries, so it's pretty much the same. They just introduced Amazon coins as a virtual currency, but that's work, at least for the beginning, only in the US. That is something we haven't looked into, but that seems kind of promising, in particular for games. So I think US is going to be a test case for Amazon, and then if it's successful, they're gonna roll it out. I assume most of you guys have been gifting on Amazon as well, or do your wishes. So there's gifting, a very good and solid way to give products to friends. You have a dynamic price range, the usual bracket. However, price changes take a while, so it can take up to 1 week if you change the price, which is like for the mobile space where everything is very dynamic and you have to be really quick in terms of running campaigns and so on. I'd say it's a bit low the standard. And it also implementing the in-app purchase API is a little bit more work than it is compared to iOS and Android. Still, the returns are fairly low, and they're below 1%. You don't have any fees, and so if there are no chargebacks, you get your 70% payout. However, that seems to be negotiable. So we have heard that the big guys get a little bit more. We don't. And there's another thing you should be aware of. The last call on the pricing has Amazon. So Amazon can still decide, well, your app is going to be free that week, and you can't do anything about it. Obviously, Amazon's objective is not to piss off their developers, so they know what they're doing. So it didn't happen with our app, with Galaxy Fire, but I assume Amazon is really good in how to sell content. So if they do this, this is going to be for a reason, and this won't be to your disadvantage. But you should be aware of it. Last but not least, of course, you get a solid reporting, but no details on the device level and hour of purchase. Then BlackBerry World, I think this is an interesting app world or app store, because BlackBerry has a premium user proposition as well. They have about 50 million credit cards on file. That's a rough guess, because they have 70, 80 million users in total. So obviously not everybody has a credit card, but BlackBerry has a strong proposition within the business space. So we assume they have a lot of credit card users. And they are actually really good in operator billing. So they have more than 85 countries that support operator billing. All the major countries in US, EU5, they support it. And in total, they're live in 86 countries. You also can do gifting, same price tags. And again, the VAT is with BlackBerry. You don't have to deal with that. Price changes take a little bit longer. It's about a day, because they run a small test. I mean, at least they have a look at it. So it's not like you can do your campaigns on an hourly basis. Still 24 hours is good enough. And depending how important you are, how big your app is, how good your relationship is with BlackBerry, sometimes you can fast track things as well. Unfortunately, it's less easy to implement. So for us, it took some days to implement in-app purchase, whereas like implementing in-app purchase on iOS takes only a couple hours. That may have to do with the security system with BlackBerry, because BlackBerry is the most secure mobile platform or mobile OS. So you need to be prepared, spend a little bit more time implementing in-app purchase. However, the returns are fairly low. Again, that proves this is a premium platform with premium users used to have credit cards, and they also have the budget. And we see great results in terms of like ARPU here with the BlackBerry community. In case there is something going wrong, there are no fees, there are no chargebacks, which is great. You got your 70% payout, everybody gets it, so there's no detail, there's no difference compared to the big guys. You get a solid but also a detailed reporting, so you get more information as you get with Apple. Two more. So then we have Microsoft Windows Phone Store is already live, and they have more than just credit card and operator billing. In case you have a preferred payment system, and this payment system provides an SDK, you can actually tie in your preferred payment system into Windows Phone Store, but the work is with you guys. But still you have the possibility if you, for whatever reason, have a preference here. It's in some 120 countries live. I just talked to the Microsoft guys, and they weren't 100% sure how many countries it actually is, because the list was really long, and we were just, no, we're not counting here, so it's 120 somewhere. You can do gifting. The biggest price on Windows Phone Store is $499.99. The Windows Store supports up to $999.99. So I think for a mobile app you should be fine with like $499 as the maximum price point. VAT is with Microsoft, so no bothering here, no hassle. Price changes take again a little bit longer. So Microsoft tries to have a premium proposition on the store, and you can work with Microsoft, so you can run campaigns, but still be prepared, plan in advance. It's going to take 48 hours to take action here. It's fairly easy to implement. The less than 1% returns is an assumption because we haven't launched anything yet. But so far I haven't seen any major complaints, so this is my guess. And I haven't heard about chargebacks and so on. The 70% payout is the standard. I've been told if you have a very good relationship, again, if you bring something extremely valuable to the platform, there may be better payouts, but we can't prove that, just a hearing. And last but not least, you got your standard reporting, which is good. So you see paid apps, you see in-app purchase, you see it by country, but again, no information on the hardware underneath, which sometimes would be very helpful in case you have support issues with a certain device, because keep in mind that on Microsoft, on Windows Mobile, you're dealing with different OEMs. So there's HTC, there's Nokia, and some others. So we would appreciate if we know what kind of machine is running. And so in case there's a support issue, we can go back to them. So this is the last one. The biggest smartphone producer in the world, which is Samsung, they run their own app store. They do have operator billing with like SMS and postpaid, so premium SMS and postpaid. There's no credit card billing. And unfortunately, there's no support for paid apps in the US. I don't know why, but that we were caught in the open when we were launching Galaxy Fire 2 on the Samsung App Store for the S3, and we just wanted to tick all the boxes for the countries, and we're like, it's a paid app, so it can't go live in the US, which is obviously a bummer if you're not live in the US. But if you have a free-to-play title, that's not an issue because in-app purchase is supported. It's about 80 countries. The price tags are a little bit limited, but still I think for mobile, even for $49.99 is high enough. Samsung takes care of the VAT. It's the slowest app store in terms of price changes, so it takes about 2 weeks to get something done. Even if you change a screenshot or app description, be prepared, it can take 2 weeks. And I also have to say it's really hard to implement. So it took us a while to get that nailed. If you want to know more technical information about that, I have to disappoint. That's not with me, but if you're really interested, I can hook you up with our CTO and he can let you know more about it. Still, the returns, the percentage of the returns is fairly low, and there are also no chargebacks, which is highly appreciated. You get your 70% payout. I think that's the case for everyone. And in this case, with Samsung apps, you actually get a pretty decent and detailed report because you know also what kind of device they're running on. Done. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andreas Schulze. I'm from Gameforge. I try to keep it short because I think we are short in time. So I wanted to focus on the payment funnel, so not on the complete payment business, but especially on the payment funnel. And I would like to show you what we did in the last big efforts to improve our shop. So what you can see on the left side, this was a shop before I joined Gameforge. And so as you can see, the starting point was for the customer to choose a payment method and not the product. So he chooses the payment method and then the product, so which is not usually done in the e-commerce world. So we said, okay, let's switch that. Let the customer first choose the product and then let him choose how to pay. So what were the goals with the last activities we did there? So it's to increase the conversion rate, which is very important. From my perspective, it's getting more and more important than reducing the payment costs by optimizing the payouts, because this is something which is limited. But conversion rate can optimize significantly if you really focus on that. So we wanted to push the upselling capabilities of our shop. And of course, we wanted to reduce payment costs, but not by negotiating with the payment providers, but by guiding the customer. We did some improvements regarding the capabilities of sales promotions within the payment funnel. And of course, we have to talk with the payment partners and the payment providers to increase their parts of the payment funnel. So for the first part, to increase the conversion, as I said, we wanted to give the consumer the opportunity to have a feeling like he's shopping on Amazon or something like that. So he chooses product, then he chooses his tariff. Or he chooses tariff, and he gets clear indication what he gets for his money. To push the upselling, we wanted to reward the customer to get into the higher price points. So to create a win-win situation. The goal was to give the customer more for the same money if he pays more money, and the increased average transaction value is of course something which is important for us. The next thing, to reduce the payment costs, we did a categorization of the payment options we are offering. So based on the payouts we get from the payment providers and the experience regarding the conversion rate, we categorize the payment methods. As you can see, we have the top payment methods where we offer an additional reward for the customer when he pays with those payment methods. So it's PayPal in this case, or a credit card or passive card. It differs from country to country. And so we want to give them guidance to tell them, okay, if you pay with a certain payment option, you get more for the money than you get with another payment option, like one of those which are below. There's another thing which is remarkable. So we did the following. We tried to cautious display the payment methods that are very expensive from our perspective. So like it's this phone and SMS payments. And that's the reason why we just did it a very careful way to display these methods on the right side. It also depends on the fact that we do not have the chance, or at least in most countries, you do not have the chance to do a flexible pricing because you have fixed price point by the network operators for the SMS payments. So that's the reason why we have to do that in another way. Of course, we tried to enhance our shop. We didn't have a chance with the previous version of the shop to do campaigns, to do happy hours and stuff like that, and to indicate it to the customer within the shop. So this was the reason why we put some place into the shop where we can show banners and yeah, to push our promotions. Another thing which is very, very important for us, but will be very difficult and is difficult because we are already doing this. We are talking to all of our payment partners regarding their payment, of their part of the payment funnel, because most of the payment partners are integrated via iframe. So we do very small integrations via API solutions where we develop the UI, and therefore we are speaking with the guys from the payment providers and help them to optimize the usability and the user experience to increase the conversion rate also on their part of the payment funnel. To figure out between different payment providers which one is the best for us, we do a lot of efforts. We integrate partly 4 or 5 payment partners just to do ABC testing with them and to figure out which payment funnel of them works best for us. So at the end of the day, this combines conversion rate and payouts, because at the end of the day we check how much money did we earn with which partner within scope of the ABC test, and based on that information we decide which one we will take into this country and or we take as a payment method on our side. So these are the things we did with the last big improvements we made on our payment shop. In the future, what we want to do is we want to, so there is no slide, I've given you that without a slide. We want to explore the white spots on the payment landscape, so to speak. So we want to focus on local payment methods, for especially in South America, but also in Eastern Europe. And therefore we work together with aggregators and try to explore the long tail. Another thing is we are improving the cooperation with our partners. We are working more closely together with them to do things like that, to tell them how they have, from our perspective, to improve their usability and user experience. And from our perspective, this works very well. We did this very successfully with some of our partners, and we're extending that. We are cooperating with some consulting companies which are consulting us, and we are currently creating a style guide which is a recommendation to our payment partners how they should adjust their payment funnel. So that's it. Thank you very much.
I think we have very short time for some quick questions, so I just want to also compliment you guys with the amount of time that we had. Very well done, I would say. Any questions from the audience?
Maybe I can start the question?
Sure.
Andreas, you talked a lot about the various different efficiencies of pricing methods, from PayPal to the SMS message. I wonder if you could educate the developers here what the range, what percentage of the money you actually keep compared to from SMS as opposed to PayPal.
I can't tell you the payment rates in detail, but just to give you a rough idea, we are currently paying approximately around about 25 to 30% in average for the SMS payments. So that's what we have to pay to our payment providers, so, or what they keep. And for the PayPal and credit card payments, so we are around about 4 to 5%. So this is a big difference. So that's the reason why we want to guide the customers from those payment methods into the more attractive payment methods from our perspective.
Okay, good. Other questions to that? It's quite interesting. Now's your chance to ask it. I have one question myself, just being a payment manager as well. Just from everyone really quick, what would be better, showing the price point, the package first, or showing the payment method first for the user?
You asking me?
Everyone.
Okay.
So just a quick rundown. And this is the last question, I think, since no one's asking. So, and we have 1 minute.
So we significantly increased the conversion rate when we switched.
To which direction then? So it would be...
From first showing the payment method to first showing the product.
Okay. Okay.
Mine is really short because there's no choice of payment in the app stores. That is untrue if you have Google checkout, so you can have other payments, but right now there's no reason for us to do this, to push this heavily. We're going to run tests with others, so we're going to wait and see. My gut's feeling is the users will use that kind of payment they're used to by default.
Okay.
So I think that the customer should first of all actually decide what he wants to buy, and he should make his decision. So then the payment method is just a supplementary for this decision. Yep. So it should be at the last point, actually.
I also agree more or less with everybody, but what I can add is that you should be able to do your A/B tests yourselves, so you can decide more on solid ground instead of our opinions. What's better for you? You should test for a month or for 2 months. What works better for you? What works better in Germany might not work better in South Africa or in India.
I agree with Victor and the others. I mean, it depends. We have right now the payment options first. The customer sees clearly the token symbol in the game. He can click on a link. It can depend on the customer, depends on the game as well, depends on the audience you want to focus on. We should do your A/B testing. So there is not, of course, you can see an uplift. I prefer as well like to go with price points first, but there's different sides to that. What you choose, how you start integrating. With whom you work, so it really depends on do your A/B testing.
Okay, great. Then let's give these guys one more little round of applause, and thank you again for your time.
Okay, we'll be starting again in 5 minutes.